Welcome this morning. And Jay, I didn't know that Avis and Bill had recruited you because Avis recruited me too. So thank you. So it's my pleasure to introduce my co-anchor for this morning, and you're going to have your first keynote for this morning. And I want to welcome Hannah Alper, and I want to thank her parents, Eric and Candace, who are here with us today. I'm going to read to you Hannah's bio. I thought I had quite a good bio until I read Hannah's bio. Hannah is a student here in York Region District School Board. She has been called many things: an eco-warrior, a change maker, an activist, the future of social media. At 13 years old, she is all of these things. Hannah launched her blog, callmehannah.ca, at the age of 9. To share her knowledge and her concern about the environment. Her blog began out of a desire to help and inspire others to join in believing that the little things can make a difference. Hannah found her power in using her voice to inspire, motivate, and empower people of all ages to identify their passion and, importantly, to take action. She is a me-to-we motivational speaker and a we ambassador. In her quest to be the change, Hannah continues to demonstrate that when passion meets action, there is no such thing as too young. Please join me in welcoming Hannah. You have no idea how excited we are about today. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And, as Laureen and Jay said, thank you all for igniting that fire in all of the students, and thank you for helping us raise our voice about the issues we care about. I'm so excited to be here today, and this is going to be such a great day. Are you excited?
So, Hannah, we know you're a student here. Do you want to give a shout out to your school and tell us which school you go to?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to talk about my school later also, but I go to Roselawn Public School. My teachers and my principals are back there, and I'm really, yeah. Woo! Yeah.
So what's your favorite thing about school?
My favorite thing about school is probably literacy. We've been doing journals. Mr. Warling knows this. We've been doing journals where we've been writing about books, and it's really cool because I'm a writer, and it's just really cool to put my gift into school. And literacy is probably my favorite subject. Yeah.
So yesterday it was all adults, and they were saying, we should do this, we should tell the students this, we should do this for the students. So you have a room full of people who you're going to inspire to change. So what can we do to make education better, to support you and other students to learn?
I think that, what Jay was saying, I think that we just have to support our students. And, at my school, for example, we have so many clubs and awesome activities that help inspire us to make a difference. And, we have the We Club, we have a program called Ambassadors, and there's just so many ways that we can inspire our students to make a difference, and also just let them know that you have their support, because so many of my role models are my teachers, because I have their support, and really that's the most important thing to me.
Thank you. So I'm about to get off the stage because I really want to give the time to Hannah. But after Hannah, we then have another lightning round of keynote speakers. So in a keynote space, we actually have 5 presentations instead of 1. So I'm going to do the introductions for that, and then I'll get out of your way. So our next presentation after Hannah, for those of you that are playing on the app, the code is 7338. And the presenters are going to be Brian Aspinall, a grade 7-8 teacher and a Microsoft Innovative Educator expert. A team of school administrators, including Janaya Pathe, Kirsty Irvin, and Tanya Lynn Paul. Eddie Robinson, an Indigenous artist, activist, and educator. Royanne Lee, a teacher and curriculum consultant, and Michelle Cordy, a teacher and Google certified innovator. And for those of you that are active on social media, I suspect you already know most of those names. So Hannah, over to you, and take it away for us. And be awesome.
Thank you. All right, so before I get started, I just want to share a story with you. There was an old man walking along a beach one early morning. There had been a storm the night before, and he noticed that the whole beach was covered in starfish as far as he could see in all directions. He also noticed a young girl walking towards him. Occasionally, she would bend over, pick up the starfish, and toss it into the ocean. "What are you doing?" the man asked the girl. "Throwing the starfish back into the ocean," she said. "The starfish can't get back into the ocean themselves, and when the sun gets high, they will die, unless I throw them back into the ocean." The old man replied, "There must be tens of thousands of starfish on this beach. I'm afraid you won't be making a difference." The girl simply smiled, picked up another starfish, and tossed it into the ocean. I made a difference for that one. This story really sums up how I see the world. The starfish story is a really good metaphor for the many issues facing the world. Many people, like the old man in the story, think that the problems are so big, so overwhelming, that we can't make a dent. But like the girl in the story, I believe that we can make a difference, one action at a time. And the equation I'm about to share with you will help you when you come across your starfish. Now, don't worry, when I say equation, I promise this isn't math homework, although we are at an education conference. The formula is issue plus gift equals change. And just like in math, it's easier if we tackle the equation in units. So, let's start by talking about the first unit, issue. That's where my story got started, and so did the stories of some other amazing people that inspire me. I found my passion for the environment pretty early on. I realized that the animals that I love relied on people to take care of the earth. And right now, we aren't doing a very good job of taking care of it. So my first starfish was the environment, and a lot of the actions that I take to change the world are connected to taking care of the earth that we all call home. But your issue can be something totally different from mine. It can be something that you see every day, like discrimination based on your gender or bullying. It might be something that affects people that you don't even know, like literacy, access to clean water, or education. It might be an issue that affects people all over the world, or an issue that is specific to your community. It's also okay to have more than one issue that you care about. I care about all of these things, because the more people I meet, the more issues I discover, and the more motivated I am to change the world. If you aren't sure what your issue is, here are a few things to keep in mind. Number one, look for inspiring people that can help you learn more about your issue. Find a role model. Your role model might be someone that you know, like a teacher or a coach. It might be someone who has added their voice to a cause or issue that you care about. Or it might be someone who has paved the path that you want to be on. I have role models in each of these categories. 2, make sure you do your research. It's important to know what the problem is and what other solutions might already be out there. If something bugs you, that could be your issue. 3, recognize when the status quo isn't okay. Just because things have always been that way doesn't mean that they're the best way they can be. 4, look for opportunities to learn from other people. Sometimes hearing a person's story or seeing their experience will give you a better understanding of an issue. Okay, so we've tackled the first part of the equation, the issue. Now, let's move on to the second part, the gift. Because if we want to change the world, then we're going to need to do more than feel frustrated and overwhelmed about it. We need to find something that we're good at and use that to help us make a difference. I realized really early on that my gift was communicating, and my blog was where I started to put my gifts into action. My gift of being a good communicator has grown to include using my voice through public speaking and social media. But when I break that down even further, it's safe to say this. I use the gifts that I've been given to put the gifts that I use to give into action. Let me explain. Something that I've learned as a global citizen is that I am fortunate to live in Canada, where I'm given what so many of my peers in other parts of the world are not, in education. I have access to as much education as I want, and I intend to get a lot of it. I'd like to pause for a second here and give another shout out to my teachers and principals, and even the Wired GSB. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here today. While this is literally true today, It's a support system that goes back 4 years, and I am so grateful. Some of them are here today, and I'd like to name some of them. Miss Ford, my principal, my teachers, Mr. Worling, Miss Syed, Miss Chung, and Miss Raji. And of course, these guys, J. Philip Parapally and Bill Hogarth, president and past directors of WiredDSB. I've always been proud to be from WiredDSB, and these incredible people are the reason why. Can we give a big round of applause to them, please? So the other gift that I've been given access to is technology. And I know that all of the students in all of the WiredDSB schools have a lot of technology. It's this gift that powers so much of what I do as an agent of change. I am what you call a digital native. The internet has part of my everyday life for my whole life, so it's natural that I would use it, and I do. When I started on my path and I identified my issue, the internet is where I went to share and connect with other change makers through my blog. That, as I told you, is when I was 9 years old. Since then, I have been an engaged user of social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, where my voice is amplified, and so are my connections to like-minded people all over the world. Technology empowers us to truly be global citizens, both in and out of the classrooms. So, what's your gift? It might be something that you're good at or that you like doing. It's a skill or a hobby or a resource. It might be something that you do for fun in your spare time, or it might be time that you have to give. There are lots of different gifts and everyone has one. Isabel uses her gift of art to make personalized pet portraits to raise money for her local rabbit shelter. At 4 years old, Emily is cutting her hair to donate her hair for kids going through cancer treatments. Oops. Sarah loves to bake and has raised more than $15,000 through bake sales for a hospice in her community. Sophie, Amer, and Kiara put their gift of being great at science to good use. They won the Google Science Fair for their project addressing food security. So, when you're thinking about your gift, remember the following things. Number 1, choose something that you're good at and something that you enjoy. Whether it's science, music, art, or baking, or teaching, your gift lets you change the world, so enjoy doing it. 2, remember, your gift doesn't have to be a talent. It's anything that you can do to make the world a better place. 3, just like you have more than one issue, you probably have more than one gift. Okay, back to the equation. Issue plus gift equals change. But let's pause for a second, because I bet that there are people out there that think that if changing the world were that easy, everyone would be doing it. And while I've surrounded myself with people who inspire me, who motivate me, who believe in me, I've also heard from people who have been skeptics. So over the next little bit, let's talk about some of the myths that people have about changing the world. Myth number 1, changing the world takes big actions. Little actions can't change the world. A lot of you might be thinking, Hannah, small actions are nice, but they certainly don't change the world. None of us can change all of the issues that are facing the world today, but the little things that people do for me make a big difference to me. So I try to pass those on. It's my way of throwing starfish back into the ocean, one at a time. And I bet that if everyone cleaned up one park, stood up for a kid that was being bullied, or stood up for a friend on the playground, the world would be a much better place. Myth number 2, you're just too young to make a difference. I get this one a lot. People say that I should be playing with my friends, worrying about my math homework, that changing the world is for grown-ups. Be a kid, they say. And sometimes I wonder if I should believe them, because math homework is pretty important. All of those issues that we talked about at the beginning seem really big. But whenever I think that, I remember that I'm not the only young person who's changing the world. Not even close. Craig Kielburger was only 12 years old when he founded Free the Children, and his first action was a bake sale. Flash forward 22 years. Free the Children, now called the We Movement, has built over 1,000 schools, donated over $16 million in medical supplies, provided over 1 million people with clean drinking water, and so much more. It's a lot of change from the action of a 12-year-old. Malala Yousafzai was only 17 years old when she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Michaela Umer was 10 years old when she was awarded a $60,000 investment on Shark Tank for her business, Be Sweet Lemonade, raising awareness and funds to support honeybees by selling lemonade. Zuriel Adewale was 12 years old when her self-produced documentary about positive and inspiring African stories was screened in 5 countries. So I'm definitely not young to change the world. And if being a kid is about having fun, well, I have fun changing the world. And like all of these people I said, I get to change the world with my friends. Myth number 3, changing the world is expensive. It takes a lot of money to make a difference. I bet when a lot of you think about making a difference, you think about donating money to a cause or fundraising. Sometimes that feels like the type of change we hear about the most, and often it makes it hard for people to feel like they can be involved in changing the world, especially students. But the donations that people need aren't always money. For example, my friends at my karate dojo and I collected canned goods for Free the Children's We Scare Hunger campaign, which helps to support local food banks. We also just finished up the campaign at Roselawn. I also organized a shoreline cleanup with a bunch of my friends and family members. It's easy. All you need are some garbage bags, some gloves, and you can clean up an area in your environment where you live for free. That's also a lot of fun. You can also donate clothes, toys, or household items to a shelter or organization that helps those in need in your community. I bet lots of you have clothes that you hardly ever wear and toys that you've outgrown by now. If they are still in good condition, you can pass them on to someone who will really, I see Bill just laughing at this, and it's quite funny. So when you can pass those on to someone who will really enjoy them, which, by the way, is way more eco-friendly than just throwing them out. So as you can see, there are lots of ways to change the world without money. Myth number 4, small actions are nice, but they don't lead to a big impact. Some people think that small actions make a difference, but that it takes a big idea to change the world. But a lot of change makers don't start out with the goal of just changing the world. Sometimes their idea or their action just grows. I want to tell you about my friend Travis. His story is going to pull this all together. Travis didn't start out on a global initiative. He set out to change things for one person on one day. It doesn't sound like the kind of thing that you would read in the newspaper or see on TV. It just seems like a nice thing to do. To understand why Travis's actions became so much bigger than he ever imagined, I want to try some show and tell. I want you to stand up if you know someone who has been bullied, if you have ever seen someone being bullied, or if you have ever been bullied yourself. Go ahead, get up out of your seats. Take a look around you. It's overwhelming, isn't it? That so many of us are touched by bullying. 1 in 3 Canadian students are bullied. 1 in 3. 7 in 10 Canadian students are cyberbullied. 7 in 10. So you can see why bullying is such a big issue. You can all sit down. It's okay, you can sit back down. You'll be sitting for a few more hours. So Travis's story actually has its beginnings of someone else's story. I'm in grade 8, I'm going into grade 9 next year, and I'm really excited. It's kind of a big deal. The first day, grade 9, in a new school with so many new people. You want to make a good first impression. You want to look good. You want to be cool. His day didn't go as planned. He found himself to be the target of a group of boys who called him names and threatened to beat him up. Why? Because they didn't like his pink shirt. They tormented him, followed him around all day. It sucked. Fortunately, this didn't go unnoticed. Travis and DJ were in grade 12 and had seen things like this going on in their school for years. Enough was enough. This wasn't the kind of legacy they wanted to leave their high school with. So they went to the store and bought 50 pink women's t-shirts. They emailed everyone they knew and asked them to email everyone they knew. They said, "Tomorrow, we are creating a sea of pink. Wear pink to stand with this boy. Wear pink to stand up to the boys who bullied him. When we stand together wearing pink, the bullies will be forced to step down." The next day, Travis and DJ showed up wearing pink, and they saw that their message was heard. Hundreds of people showed up wearing pink. When that grade 9 student walked in and saw everyone in pink, he smiled and he sighed. He knew that everything was going to be okay. He was not alone. That's probably where Travis thought his change was going to stop, but it didn't. Travis saw that bullying was an issue in his school, and his gift was standing in solidarity with one person. Today, the pink shirt has become a symbol against bullying all over the world. It is a day that we come together, creating a sea of pink. Pink Shirt Day empowers us to stand up against bullying because we do it together. It reminds us to be better people and create better, safer, and more inclusive communities. Yes, Travis was not a leader. He was not popular. He was not one of the cool kids. He was just an ordinary young person. He put our equation to use. When I started my blog when I was 9 years old, I could not have foreseen that I would be here today. What began as a blog where I was exploring how we can live lives that are more eco-friendly has grown to include other issues like literacy, bullying, and access to education. Through my blog and positive presence in social media, I hope to inspire people to recognize that they can do something. So, taking what we've learned, we can now put some of those myths to rest. Number 1, small actions do make a big difference. 2, you're never too young to change the world. 3, changing the world doesn't always take money. Sometimes it's donating something as simple as your time, your teaching, or your hair. 4, you never know how far your change will go. Something that seems so simple at the time can turn into something bigger than you ever imagined. When I started my blog, I had no idea I would end up on this adventure. So, now that you know the formula, you can put it to use and start taking action. Find your issue, match it with your gift, and boom, change. Remember, no action is too big or too small. Everything that we all do counts, but it's a team effort. Community is important. Because none of us can throw all of those starfish back into the ocean alone, we have to do it together. I want to leave you today with a quote that inspires me on my path. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Thank you. Thank you.